What's up, guys? Question for you. Have you ever had a client not file a claim on their insurance because they were scared they were going to get dropped? Or they didn't file a claim on their insurance because they didn't want their premiums to double or triple or quadruple? Or maybe maybe the customer should file a claim, and if they do, it's going to be like an $8,000, $10,000 job, a really good job. But because you can't get them to file the claim, you got to offer them a $2,000 cash pay instead. Well, if you haven't had that happen, I promise you at some point you will. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how we overcome that. I'm going to give you some real world examples. I'll look this up on the internet, so it's got to be true. But seriously, I'm going to teach you how to overcome this. How can you empower your customer, advise them correctly, and overcome the objection? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. So if you own a restoration company and you want to get past this, you do not want to miss this video. Let's go. All right, guys, as we get started, do me a favor, hit the like and the subscribe button and drop a comment down below and let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Okay, guys, so again, the scenario is this. The customer should file an insurance claim, but they're scared. They don't want to get dropped. They don't want the premiums to go up. Like, does it really affect it? Does it not? I'm going to give you two pieces of information. So one of them is going to be firsthand from my experience, and the other one's going to be what I found to be true after doing research from the internet, okay? So does it always affect your insurance? The answer is no, and I'm just telling you this. I filed water damage claims on my personal property, okay? And my insurance rates did not go up. Like that was true. That happened, all right? So just because you file a claim does not necessarily mean that they do go up. That's the first thing, okay? When you file an insurance claim, there's this thing called the clue report. And the clue report's kind of like Carfax, but for homes. I don't know if that's a great example, but essentially it's in the insurance industry. Before they underwrite a policy or before they underwrite you and or the structure, they're gonna go check the Carfax or go check the clue report. And the clue report reports on two different things, the person and the structure. The person and the structure. Why? Because a person that files a bunch of claims is the type of person that files a bunch of claims. The other thing is they're actually going to look at the structure as well. Reasons why they do this. If you live inside of a heavily wooded area in a forest, you're much more likely to have a tree fall on your house than if you lived in an open field. Or if you live by a river, you're much more likely to maybe suffer from a flood or something like that. These are examples that they want to look at when they're looking at the clue report, okay? The structure and the person. That's it. So when a claim is filed, information goes on the clue report. That's the first thing you need to tell your client. The second thing is this. There might be scenarios, you may eventually see this, and this is kind of an ADD moment, so I'll give it to you anyway. You will eventually come across a job or come across a client where they started the claims process, they filed the claim, but then they stopped it. They withdrew the claim. And here's what I'm gonna tell you. I've never heard of them withdrawing a claim. Once the claim is issued and there's a claim number, that's a claim, bro. Now, when you say you withdraw it, the insurance company is going to be more than happy to tell you it's gone, there is no claim, but it still goes in the clue report. It's a $0 claim, okay? It still goes in the clue report. Once that claim is filed, the claim is filed. It's there, okay? And $0 claims are bad. And they're bad because they're still on there. It's still a strike. It's still on your record. So if and when you have this scenario where you've got a client and they filed the claim, but they stopped it, then you just need to take a moment and you need to explain to them that once the claim is filed, it goes on the clue report, okay? And it's gonna be a $0 claim, and a $0 claim it's a strike, just like if it was a total loss, okay? That's it. I guess what I'm trying to tell you is, like, if it's an $8,000 job, it's not worse than if it's a $5,000. That's not the way that it works, okay? It's either it happened or it didn't. It's a 0 or it's a 1. So if you have somebody that says they started the claims process and they put that claim out there, just teach them the stuff we just told you about the $0 claim. Once that claim's out there, it's already out there. It's already negatively impacting them, okay? And if they don't believe me, go file 3 $0 claims in a row and see what happens. Go file 3 $0 claims and holler at your boy, okay? They're gonna drop you. All right, so the next thing that we'll talk about is if it does impact your insurance, like what let's give some math. Let's do some research here. And so I just went on the internet and did some searches, and this is what I used to use in my examples. And I've updated a little bit for this example in this video today because the numbers have gone up slightly. But let's just take this hypothetical situation. So the customer is gonna say, hey, I don't wanna file a claim because I'm afraid my premiums are gonna go up. All right, no, I had an ADD moment. Some things to remember. Just because you file a claim doesn't mean that your insurance rates are going to go up. Not necessarily, and not necessarily right now. The next thing, I'm afraid that if I file a claim, I'm going to be dropped. So just because you file a claim doesn't mean you're going to get dropped. Just because you file 2 claims doesn't mean you're going to get dropped. But I would not file that 3rd claim, okay? 1 claim is definitely not a problem. 2 claims, it happens, okay? 3 claims, I'm probably not going to file that 3rd claim, okay? And so I'm just sharing this with you. I think the rule of thumb I would say is like 3 claims in 3 years, probably a bad thing. Does that make sense? But if it's over 3 to 5 years, like, I don't know, I'd probably file the 3rd claim in 5 years or beyond. Does that make sense? I wouldn't want to file 3 claims in 3 years. I wouldn't want to file 3 claims in 4 years. But at the end of the day, even if you're going to get dropped by your insurance, guys, you're going to evaluate and weigh what is you can go get more insurance, bro. You know what I'm saying? If you got the average water damage claim is $12,000. Like, that's what I found on the internet as well. So that's the number we use. So if the value of a claim is 12 grand, this customer's on the hook for 12 grand. Like, you don't want to pay $12,000 out of pocket. Does that make sense? It's just better to go from State Farm to Allstate or Liberty Mutual or do whatever you got to do. Does that make sense? This is my personal opinion. Like, there's not a world where paying $12,000 out of your pocket makes sense. That's all I'm trying to get at. And so just be mindful when you're talking to your client. Does that make sense? Like, the 2 biggest things that you need to evaluate, should they file a claim or not, as long as it's not their 3rd claim in recent memory, and the deductible is not more than the value of the claim, right? So if they have a $10,000 deductible and there's $10,000 of damage, you don't want to file a claim for that. Does that make sense? You want to make sure that the damage is greater than their deductible. Make sure the damage is greater than their deductible. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the math. All right. Here's what I found to be true. When you file a claim, let's assume that it does affect your premium. Here's what the statistics say. Okay. There's research here. And I found this at policygenius.com, by the way. What it says is once you file a claim, the average policy may go up by about 12%. Okay. So the premium is increased by about 12% for about 3 to 5 years. So I just did some math on this. So I'm going to assume a 12% increase, and the range, for the record, Policy Genius said 7 to 9%. And then there was another one called the Zebra, and it said up to 19%. So I just averaged those 2 and I came up with 12%. Okay. So, and that's what I'm going to use for this example. But the average policy for the average home is $2,000 a year. Okay. So let's just do some math here. If you got a $2,000 policy or a $2,000 premium and it goes up by 12%, it's going to go up by $240 more per year. $240 premium increase, okay, per year for 5 years. So you're going to take 240 times 5, and that gives you, I think, $1,200. When you really think about it, once I ran the math on this, I was like, that doesn't go up by very much. And I was like, it doesn't. I mean, you sit there and look at it. So if the average water damage claim is $12,000, so what should they do? Well, do you want to pay $1,200 or $12,000? It makes more sense to file the claim. Like, it just simply does. Now, I don't know, maybe the insurance companies like to scare people that if you get dropped, you'll never get insurance again. But like, I haven't found that to be true. Somebody's going to take your money. Somebody's going to take your money. Okay. I just haven't found that to be an issue or a problem, right? Your rates may go up, but just compare that 12,000 versus 1,200. Which one do you want? It obviously makes more sense to file the claim. If you guys are going to do this math exercise, just make sure you got it written down for your client. But it's pretty easy. I would just tell them, hey, the average policy goes up by about 12%. And just remember the 2,000, 12%, 240 a year, 1,200. There's a lot of 12s here, right? And it just is what it is. But guess what? Like, insurance is just a bunch of statistics. That's all that it is anyway. So, but here's what I want you to know. Hopefully this will be helpful. So these are some of the ways to overcome that. Yes, it can affect it, but it doesn't always. That's the first thing you want to be able to tell them. And then number 2, if it does affect it, it's not very expensive. $1,200 is the additional premium that you'll wind up paying over the course of 5 years, a total of $1,200. And so you're just going to look at the value of the water damage project right there and look at that one. Or you can just tell them the average claim is 12 grand. Yours is probably going to be about the same. I don't know. I mean, I'm just barely looking at it now. You've got this damage. And if yours is the same as the average, it's going to be somewhere around 10 to 12 grand. Do you want to pay $1,200 or $12,000? And like, hopefully this is going to be helpful for you to overcome that. If it is helpful, drop a comment down below. If you're not really sure on that, drop a comment. I do read all these, and I'm happy to come back and do some additional videos to clarify this stuff. All right, guys, so that'll wrap it up. Hope that's helpful. If you guys want me to help you grow your restoration company, go to workwithshane.com, put in your information. We can hop on a quick 15-minute call, see if we can help you. We'll talk to you in the next video. If you guys enjoyed that video, I've got 3 things for you. First off, there's a couple of other videos somewhere on the screen. You can click those now to go watch more content about growing your restoration company. Number 2, if you haven't already subscribed, click my face below and that will subscribe you to the channel. And finally, if you would like for me to help you grow your restoration company, go to workwithshane.com, put in your information, and let's get on a 15-minute call. We'll see you then.